Hey, what's good, everyone? It's South Street Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. Sorry about the earlier confusion. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're here live for you to bring you the latest Manchester United news, the latest goings on at Old Trafford, the circus that is Old Trafford. Now, some news has been floating about that Manchester United have been exploring exploring deals to sign Matthias de Ligt. Apparently, he's going to be Man United's number one target, and he will be uh, at at Old Trafford this week. Apparently, I'm hearing that he might be at Old Trafford this week, and he may be um, signing for United at long last. Some may say. Some say it's been 2 years in the making. So some say it's been 2 years in the making, and it's been crazy, hasn't it? Because we've been after this player for 2 years, and obviously this also begs the question: does Ten Hag have a role to play in this deal? Does he? Because this is a player obviously he admires. This is a player obviously he's managed. So it would be weird to think that it is anything other than himself that has done this deal. Because he's a Dutchman, obviously he knows Ten Hag, and obviously Ten Hag was after this player. So we heard that Ineos are going to be having a huge say on transfers, but we're seeing a lot of players who are Dutch, a lot of coaches who are Dutch, who are linked to United, which is no coincidence, of course. It's no coincidence because Eric Ten Hag is he admires the player, and I think it's a good thing. I think that they are liaisoning with Ten Hag, and they are really um, taking his opinion seriously, and they respect his opinion. Because there are many people, and contrary to popular belief, that they thought that his opinion was going to be put in the background in regards to transfers. And it looks like it's that's not the case. So if they are backing Ten Hag, all power to him and all power to Ineos giving him the backing. Now, another transfer that has been rumbling on for a while now is Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro, of course, plays for Lille, has been on the radar of Manchester United for a while now. He has been linked heavily with Barcelona. Many thought he would be signing for, Real Madrid. Many thought he would be signing for Real Madrid this summer. Of course, Real Madrid's interest in Yoro has been quite heavy in the last few weeks, but it has emerged that Real Madrid have eased their interest on Lenny Yoro. That has opened the door for Manchester United, and according to Dharma Chef of Sky Sports, he has been approached by Manchester United. Now, this is a signing that really interests me. He's got the age. He's right centre back. We need that. Obviously, it'd be perfect to replace Varane. I would love a player like Yoro at United. It would be a very, very good coup for us. In reality, it'd be a very good signing for United if we do get Yoro through the door. A bit of disappointment news is Manchester United have been interested in Nico Williams. Of course, Nico Williams is a very talented individual, Spanish individual that United have been interested in for a couple of years now. Chelsea have hijacked the deal for Nico Williams. According to Athletic, they have hijacked the deal for Nico Williams. What do you make of this? This is not the first time that Chelsea have hijacked a deal from us. It is no surprise. They've done it for a number of decades, and they don't seem to have their own scouts, and they don't seem to have their own mind. They just go out there, see who's after who, and just quickly go out there and try and nab them off other teams. So it's it could be Man United will be missing out on Nico Williams. Chelsea will be signing Nico Williams. I don't know how they get away with financial fair play. They've spent about £1 billion since January. So I don't know how they do it. I don't know why they signed a player this week. Of course, a young player this week. Of course, I believe he was at Barcelona. and I can't quite remember his name, but they signed him, and they're after Nico Williams as well. Of course, all the players they signed last season as well. They got a squad of about 100. They got to get rid of some players. I don't know how they're doing it, to be honest. Of course, they're signing them on long contracts, but it looks like they're after Nico Williams as well, another transfer target for Manchester United. So I like Nico Williams, but it's up to him if he would choose to go to the proper team or go to that Chelsea, that team in West London. It's up to them. Manchester United have also renewed their interest in Ugarte. Well, not renewed, have strengthened their interest in Ugarte and made a fresh approach for Ugarte in the region of £40 million. Now, Ugarte has since quoted that he would like to sign for Manchester United. He would like to go to Manchester United. And according to Uruguay Fichichas on Twitter, it is his ideal destination. Now, Ugarte is a very interesting player. He hasn't set the world alight at PSG, of course, but he's the kind of character that United need in the midfield. They need someone like that, someone who's a little bit edgy, a little bit ruthless, a bit naughty, if you know what I mean. So they need a player like that in the midst who can play in our midfield, who can work alongside Mainu. Of course, PSG was a disappointment. We wanted him a year ago when he was playing for Sporting Lisbon, but he didn't quite materialise and he ended up signing for PSG. And let's face it, not everyone makes it at PSG. It's a bit of a circus there at the moment. So if you haven't made it at PSG, don't be too disheartened because, we got a project at United that I think he will fit in well to. I don't know about you, but I think he'll fit in well to. Ugarte would signify a very good start to this transfer window. And I believe that we can get that deal through the line if we offer there and thereabouts. Obviously, PSG quoted 51 million for Ugarte, and they wanted a little bit more for him, of course, which is like we're not going to pay, of course, because they paid 54, I think, for him when they signed him. So we need to do a good deal there, especially if Ugarte is rumoured to be interested in United, and obviously Uruguay outlets are quoting that it is his ideal destination. Now, Manchester United legend Dwight Yorke has suggested that Jadon Sancho should sign for Chelsea. Jadon Sancho, of course, who was a controversial figure last season with the tweet, and of course, it has been at Dortmund and has been promoted, so to speak, by Dortmund for the last year. He's been forced down our throats. Look at this step over from Jadon Sancho. Look at this from Jadon Sancho. Rah, rah, rah. All this stuff has been promoted on Twitter. Kind of slanderous, of course, kind of disrespectful to Manchester United. But that's why it's important that Manchester United do not accept any more loans for Jadon Sancho. If Dortmund want the player, they need to buy the player. They obviously talk a lot on media about how they love the player. So prove your love for the player, sign the player, pay the money. You'll pay anything if you love the player, if you really rate the player. And also, Jadon Sancho, if you really love Dortmund, you would take what money they offer you a week, wouldn't you? Because you love the team. So you would take any money they offer you. So Jadon Sancho, it could be on his way. Of course, it is very important we get rid of him. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. No disrespect to the player, but obviously we do not need any more bad apples in that side, and we need to have a clean slate completely, and we don't want any distractions in regards to Jadon Sancho. Of course, Jadon Sancho, good friends with Marcus Rashford. Lots of rumours were going around last season that Marcus Rashford was unhappy about the treatment of Jadon Sancho, and he would like Jadon Sancho to be given another opportunity. I don't think he should be given another opportunity. His ego contributed to disrespecting the club and disrespecting Ten Hag. Ten Hag, who has looked after him last season for 3 months, paid annual leave, whatever you want to call it, sick pay, whatever it was very respectful from Ten Hag. And we needed him at that particular period in time. We did need Sancho at that particular period of time. We had injuries, but Ten Hag put the player before the team. So that Sancho should have remembered that, short memory syndrome, recency bias. He just remembers the small things because he was told he didn't train well in training, which is, petty to say the least. And as I said last night, it's not like he dissed his mum. It's that all he said is that he didn't train well. That's it. So it's really pathetic. It was really pathetic from a Manchester United player. So Manchester United have almost finalised the contract of Ten Hag. The deal reportedly is worth £27 million, which is a lot. But it shows a huge belief in the manager, a huge belief in Eric Ten Hag, which is refreshing. And I like this from Ineos, that they are backing the manager. As I said yesterday, he should be signing the deal by next week, I believe. So if he signs the deal, it adds stability. And that's exactly what I want at United. And I'm sure that's what many fellow Man United fans want at the club. So I believe that backing Ten Hag, giving him a 3-year contract, will send out the right message towards that squad. We'll say, look, we're not messing about. You play for the manager. You don't play for the manager. You are out the door, and that's as simple as that. We don't want any more rumors, going around, etc., about players unhappy, players down tooling, players faking injury, this, that, all these nasty, sinister things that we've been hearing all last season. It was like a non-stop record. It's like we were cursed. It was like injury after injury after injury. It was just rumor after rumor after rumor, and some of it was true. And obviously the Sancho situation and everything was absolutely abysmal from United last season. It was absolute circus. And I absolutely rate Ten Hag for what he did last season to maintain his composure, to maintain his dignity and his class, and go on to qualify for Europe and win a trophy, despite all these mitigating circumstances that he was dealt last season. It was unfair on Ten Hag, and many of the fan base turned on Ten Hag. Well, the minority of the fan base turned on Ten Hag because they didn't have the patience and they didn't understand from a broader scope that what was going on at the club. You can't blame them if they don't understand what's going on and how things affect certain football teams and for certain businesses. Even in any business in the world, if you're missing if 10 players don't turn up to work, and you've got a director working in the kitchen, and you've got a catering staff working in, as an administrative assistant, it's not going to work, is it? Because players have been playing out of position, players have been playing out of square pegs in round holes, so to speak. It's like that, isn't it? So if you don't understand that, well, I don't know what to say. But I believe it was just an ego thing. People were more interested in being right and correct than their own opinion actually being more important than the actual football club itself. Because many people online, many channels, they build a reputation of sensationalism and screaming in front of a camera that he's got to go, ball fraud, all that. The ball fraud brigade, I called it, that they disrespect the manager. A manager like Ten Hag, who had to cope with so much last season, in particular the Jadon Sancho mess, when in reality Jadon Sancho was just a spoiled brat, and he just didn't get it, and he was called out, and simple as that, right? And he didn't take it as a positive. He didn't take it as, look, I've been criticised, let me prove him wrong. That's what great players do. They have the character to say, right, I'm not training well, apparently. So I'm not training well, so I'm going to prove this manager wrong. I'm going to get myself back in the team. I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm going to score a goal, and I'm going to celebrate, over-celebrate. So this whole, I don't know whether it's a new thing, but this whole moaning and crying over, oh, he said this about me, he said this about me. Maybe they should take a leaf out of the times of the 90s and the 80s and the 70s when players were regularly criticised, even legends like David Beckham and people of that nature, Roy Keane, and Ryan Giggs was even at one stage criticised for certain things. These things happen, and It's up to you as the individual to either take it as a negative or take it as a positive. If a manager mentions you, that means he's disappointed in your performances and he believes in you. He believes in you as a player. Now, to recap, obviously, Lenny Yoro, I've been talking about Lenny Yoro earlier in the show, that Lenny Yoro has been approached by Manchester United. Of course, it was rumoured that his ideal destination was Real Madrid. Real Madrid have eased their interest in Yoro, probably because they've got so many defenders and riches at that club at the moment, and they have spent a lot of money this summer and over the last year or so in regards to bringing in Endrick and Mbappe. So they want to calm it a little bit and maybe give us teams other teams a chance to build our teams rather than taking the players that we have on our shortlist, which is unfair, of course. Again, I mentioned Nico Williams. Nico Williams is another player that Manchester United have been linked with, but obviously Chelsea are looking to hijack the deal. And as Chelsea do, they throw a bunch of money at a player and then he goes to Chelsea. So any other team who is after that player cannot sign him. He's a good player, but obviously we are going after Ugarte, which I prefer. Ugarte is a very good player, and the South American thing, it attracts me as a Man United fan, because I know that they're all on the pitch and they wear their heart on their sleeve, and just like Licha Martinez and even Tevez, although he left in bad circumstances. We have had players, even Gabriel Heinze for a short period was a very, very determined and gave 100% on the pitch every single time, just wasn't quite good enough. I even take it back to Saber Veron. It was just unfortunate that we had Roy Keane and Paul Scholes in midfield. Saber Veron couldn't establish himself in that team. Although, if it was today, he would probably be a mainstay in that team. He'd probably be one of the best players in Europe. Because, as I said on the show last night, talent for me has declined in a big way in regards to actual natural talent, and the street footballer has disappeared, so to speak. There's no more street footballer. The street footballer has deteriorated because of obviously external issues, obviously with social media, with obviously iPhones and Samsungs and stuff, and youth today are more interested in staring at their phone than going out playing in the park with their mates and playing football with their mates like we used to do. Hey, we used to do that, didn't we? I used to do that every Friday night, every Thursday night, and I play Sunday league. So you're going to be, if you pop down to Hackney Marshes in the past on a Sunday, it would be packed with goals up, and there'd be nets all around, footballs all around, and there'd be hundreds of people splitting pitches playing football. These days, there's not. It's very quiet. You can see a ball of hay rolling across the pitch, and there's no one playing football. It used to be the highlight of our weekend. But nowadays, the highlight of people's weekend is spending it on social media, which obviously is an issue in regards to talent, the pool of talent that is coming through. As I said yesterday, when we look at the strikers, for example, and the attackers from yesteryear, we look at Zidane, we look at Batistuta, we look at Baggio, we look at Ronaldo, we look at Rivaldo, we look at Mark Hughes, we look at Eric Cantona, we look at Dwight York, we can go on and on and on and on. Even players like Mark Viduka, who played for Leeds, were world class in comparison to now. Of course, Andy Cole, who couldn't even get in the England team. Teddy Sheringham, it's madness. Matt Letizia, who couldn't get the England team. Every team had world class players. Every team at their respective club had world class players. Even in League One, they had good players. And it was back Division 2 back then, wasn't it? Division 1, Division 2. So they had good players. So I believe that talent has regressed. And when I look at the players that Manchester United are after, the pool of players that they're going after, they're good, but they don't really set the world alight. But that's just the world we live in now. That's just the way it is at the moment. It's just one of them things, isn't it? And hopefully things do improve, and hopefully more players will come through and will end up being elite and world class, just like it was in yesteryear. We had it good then. We did have it good, and that's why I'll bring it back to the treble. Of course, City won the treble. City won 1-5. They won the treble. Manchester United won the treble against Inter Milan, Juventus, Bayern Munich. These were elite clubs back then. when you look at a team like Juventus, who had Del Piero, Trezeguet, David, Zidane, you know, Palio, was it Peruzzi in goal? It was just a Delivio and Conte. It was just a great team. It was a great team. Inzaghi, you know, it was a great team. And then you had obviously the Inter Milan team, who we defeated. We had Zamorano, Ronaldo, Simeone, Zanetti. You know, they had a embarrassment of riches, you know, and Man United to navigate their way through that tournament showed a lot of character and showed a lot of strength, because those teams, especially in the 90s, Serie A was the best league in the world. So to win the Champions League these days, to win a treble these days, it's not on the same level, in my opinion. I think we you know, there's only one treble in England, and we all know what it is. Other than that, not much news. Obviously, it's Saturday. It's the 30th of June. It is the last day of June, and obviously, news does start flooding in around this time, but it is a weekend. Maybe no news will come out. Maybe it might come out today, maybe. But obviously, by the 1st of July, things will start heating up. So actually, it's the 29th of June today. My apologies. Someone just told me in the comments it's 29th of June. Yeah, so anyway, it's the 29th and the 30th are the most important days within the transfer calendar, because it is when transfers start getting done and rumours starts coming in. And obviously, by the 1st of July, things start heating up and transfers start coming through the door. Things start heating up, and you know, we start getting news, we start getting confirmations, we start getting players through the door. I'm hoping we will get a few players through the door. I'm hoping that United finally break the mould and get some players through that door at Old Trafford, and coaches as well. Of course, we got the news of Hijack this week, and Ruud van Nistelrooy. It has been quite a busy week in regards to news and rumours, etc. United have been very, very busy, which I like to hear. And also what I like to hear is that Ineos are not just targeting one player, they're targeting a number of players. They have backup plans, and I'm hearing a different name all the time. Let's hope it's not just talk. Let's hope that these things come into fruition very soon, and we start getting players through the door. Of course. So, plenty to be positive about at the moment. As I said, it's always about cautious optimism. It's not about just believe in everything, throwing all your eggs in one basket and say, look, I believe in them, and you can go away because I believe in them, and that's all I care about, because I believe in them. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. It's also important that you don't believe everything you hear. You don't believe everything people say, because there are people who will speak a good game, and especially if it has been known in the past that you're all talk. Obviously, players from Lille have said that in the past, but we believe in this system. We believe in Ineos, and we believe that they will fulfill their promise and do good for United. And I hope they do, and I hope they bring us back to where we belong, and I hope we are challenging for the league. As I said, next season, I predicted, rather bold prediction, as some may say, I predicted that we would a challenge for the title, which is a way out there, I know, but I believe that we would challenge for the title, of course. So let's see next season. I think it will be a shock for everyone next season. I think United will do well. Surprise, surprise, shock, horror, we're going to do well. And I think Ten Hag will prove a lot of people wrong. And a lot of people will have to swallow their own pride, and we'll have to get behind this manager, get behind the backroom staff, get behind the owners, get behind everyone, and start. Apart from the Glazers, don't get behind them because they're useless. So at the end of the day, it's about getting behind your team, getting behind the manager and Ineos as well. Because I'm hearing a lot of positive news. I'm hearing a lot of things that we could be positive about, which I'm happy about. News is good news at the end of the day. News is good news at the end of the day. So I'm glad about the various noises I'm hearing out of United. Of course, there are other players that we are linked to, and obviously we will be selling as well. No more news on Todibo. Obviously, we had the news about the lawyers getting involved in Todibo. The lawyers are going to sue UEFA, so to speak, so that United can bring Todibo through the line. Todibo's talks were very, very advanced, and it looked like he would have been the first through the door if UEFA didn't get their nose involved. Of course, they always get their nose involved in Manchester United. If it was Real Madrid or something, they wouldn't even batter an eyelid. They just get on with it, and no one would say anything. Other players that have gone quiet, obviously Edson Alvarez of Atalanta, he's gone quiet recently. A player I really admire at Atalanta, done really well last season in their Conference League victory, which was a huge achievement for Atalanta. Atalanta, who've been up and down at Serie A, Serie B for many years, have won a European trophy, which is an incredible achievement for them. Edson Alvarez, Edison, should I say? Edison is a incredibly talented midfield player, very tenacious, and would fit in very well at United. It's another player that's gone quiet recently, but it's a player definitely on United's radar. It would be a signing that I have advocated for a few weeks now. So Edison is a class player and would mark a great signing for United. Obviously, João Neves is the popular one, the popular narrative that's going over there. João Neves, of course, João Neves is worth 100 million euros, which might be too much for Man United to pay at this time. There are rumours that Mason Greenwood was going to be used as a make-weight for the João Neves deal, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think that would be a fantastic deal for both clubs. I think Greenwood is a fantastic player and João Neves is a fantastic player. What we have to remember is about Greenwood. I know Greenwood is a generational talent, so to speak, but we have to remember we have to look after him as well. It's not just about Manchester United and think about us. We have to make sure that we look after the player and we also look after ourselves as a club, as a reputation. We are Manchester United. If he goes to Benfica, that would be a good move for him. Benfica's a good club. Benfica can develop him more. He will obviously do well, and he'll obviously get his big move. I don't think he should be completely blocked out of everything. I think he should come back into the England fold if he does well. Obviously, we've got a very woke manager that won't bring him in at all. But obviously, he wasn't found guilty. So I believe he does deserve another chance. But at Manchester United, when you think about him as a player, the abuse he received, I'm old enough to remember the abuse David Beckham was. I was in the stands when David Beckham was getting abused. Some of the things I heard were absolutely atrocious. We don't want the same thing with Greenwood. We don't want this. We want the young player to be tarnished of it, of course. What we heard and what happened was absolutely disgusting. And of course, a lot of people feel very, very passionate about what was said and what will happen, regardless what you think about whether it's true, whether it was exaggerated, whether it's old. We heard the videotapes, and that's the problem at the moment. And we can't just accept a player back into Manchester United if half the fan base don't want him there. It's going to be a distraction for us. It's a distraction we don't need. We had too many distractions last season. We had too many things going on, too many negative things, which culminated in a poor season and us finishing 8th. Which was obviously a huge testament to Ten Hag winning a trophy and qualifying for Europe in that environment. It was just unbelievable season that we had last season. Just everything just seemed to go from bad to worse, And of course, certain sections of the fan base didn't help. They didn't help, and they blamed Ten Hag for absolutely everything. They blamed Ten Hag for global warming, global starvation. They blamed Ten Hag. It's all Ten Hag's fault. It's Ten Hag's fault. It's Ten Hag. Everything was Ten Hag's fault. So we stuck by the manager, us Ten Hag inners, as they call them. Well, we want what's best for Manchester United, and we didn't want to go with the same mould. We didn't want to go with the same thing that we've been doing for many, many years. We wanted to see. I could see the difference between Ten Hag and other managers is that I believe in Ten Hag, and that's the difference. I believe that he's going to be a very good manager for Man United, and I believe he has the skills. He's shown me certain things. Those who don't watch football closely, those who are not really savvy on that, can see the differences between him and other managers. And those that understand the DNA of our football club can see the difference between him and other managers. And I know, of course, he brings through youth. People will scream out, Louis van Gaal brought in youth. Louis van Gaal brought in youth because those youth players were the only choices he had. He had a number of injuries, and he brought in those youth players because he didn't have anyone else. He brought in those youth players even though they weren't good enough. Ten Hag is bringing through youth and improving youth and bringing through youth, the right youth that is improving our team. Now, Garnacho and Kobe Mainu are now full internationals for their teams, thanks to Ten Hag. And of course, that wasn't Ten Hag's fault, was it? Apparently, what the Ten Hag outers said, didn't they? They say, oh, it was, they would have come through anyway, blah, blah, blah. Of course they would have. As the great Sir Alex Ferguson said, if you don't bring players through, they would stagnate. Now, other managers might have left Mainu in the reserves. The other managers might have left Garnacho in the reserves. And they just like the other players of the past, players have stagnated, So it's important that we stick to our philosophy and keep to the Manchester United way, the Busby Babes way. And we believe in that, and we understand that as Manchester United as fans, and those who supported Ten Hag last season, those who understand our DNA, who understand where we come from. It's a bit like the renaming of Old Trafford. It's like people understanding where we come from. When Old Trafford was bombed in the war, and we had to play at Manchester City Main Road, and then and it goes. There's a lot of history involved in this, and there's a lot of multi-layered things that go along with these. It's not just like we change the name and that's it. It's fine. We are not Spurs. We're in a completely different hemisphere to that, and I believe that our heritage is very important. That's why it was very important for fans last season to support Ten Hag and support the manager and understand the circumstances and the problems he's been dealt. Ineos obviously saw the majority of the fans, the fan base were behind Ten Hag, so obviously they had no choice but to back Ten Hag, of course. They spoke to other managers, it was rumoured, but they chose Ten Hag. And you have to just give them the benefit of the doubt and say, look, they made the right decision. They picked Ten Hag, that's the right decision, and we go with it. And it's up to every United fan to back the manager and to keep supporting the manager as much as we can. Because at the end of the day, if we carry on the negativity, it's only gonna spread throughout the club, and we're not gonna get results. Things are moving, things are positive. Back the manager, back everyone. Stop saying players are bums. Stop saying players are frauds. Stop saying all this rubbish that people keep saying. I don't think they're Man United fans myself, but that's just another story completely. They keep talking a lot of rubbish about the manager, etc. And next season, if we do get off to a poor start, hopefully we won't, but if we do get off to a poor start, they're going to be waiting there like vultures to snatch a worm, ain't they? So at the end of the day, we need to back the manager. And regardless what you think, regardless what your opinions were, you need to back the manager. We wanted a full sale. We wanted Glazers out, debt cleared, and we wanted someone to buy the club in a full capacity. We didn't get what we wanted. It was Ineos who came in with their 25% deal. Their deal with the Glazers. So we had no choice. We have to back them. We have to believe in them. We have to support them, regardless what we think. We lost that battle with the full sale. We still want a full sale, but that didn't happen. So at the end of the day, we have to support them. Just like those who wanted Ten Hag out, those who believe Ten Hag is not good enough, have to back Ten Hag, have to support Ten Hag, and have to support the team. And that's what it's about, supporting the team, supporting the club that you supposedly love. Now, England are playing tomorrow. England play Slovakia in the European Championship last 16. There were rumours that Kobe Mainu will be starting his first game for England, which is a very, very good news. The youngster who has half a season at United, half a season, has broke into the England fold and just completely smashed it. Completely smashed it, as I say. Thanks to Ten Hag, he is now a regular England international. Thanks to Ten Hag, he is a regular international, and he, of course, his talent as well has got him through. His talent has really helped him through, and his talent is immense. He's a generational talent, and one that will be playing for England for many years to come. Hopefully, all being well. And obviously, Ten Hag has done his job. He's bringing through players and nurturing players, and players are playing for internationals. Garnacho is starring for Argentina in the Copa America. Garnacho is absolutely killing it in America. He's and in the Copa America, and he's absolutely blowing everyone away in regards to how, metaphorically in Argentina. And I'm very pleased for him. I think he is the next star in Argentina, and the rumours are that they are very impressed with Garnacho out there as well. So that is very good news. Next season, of course, it's not just about transfers. It's not just about bringing players in, bringing coaches in. It's also about trusting the youth. We have a very, very good youth system at the moment, a youth team coming up. It's important that we bring through and give the minutes to Shia Lacey, to Amas, to Fletcher, these type of players that that have been impressing like in the youth. It's important that we give them some minutes in the pre-season friendlies, etc. If they can get some minutes, Ten Hag has a plan. I want to see Amas coming through. Amas left back, of course. It'd be great if we bring him in the team. He's a very good player. He's got the height. He's got the strength. He's the next one through, in my opinion. Obviously, we have Shia Lacey as well. In my opinion, that is obviously a very, very good talent. These players, if they come into the team, they're getting nurtured. It's just not about signing players. And that's one thing I agreed with Jim Ratcliffe about when he had that interview. We said, let's make our own Mbappe. Let's make our own players. And that's absolutely correct. We make our own players here at the club. We bring through our own players. That's what it's about. That's what United's about. That's what United's DNA is about, is bringing our own players through. And we have a very good youth system. We have a conveyor belt of players coming through, and that's what's important. United bringing in youth players and mixing them with experienced players as well. So obviously, if you mix them with experienced players, if we bring in a Ugarte, but we also bring in Amas, if we bring in a Yoro, but we also bring in Shea Lacey, things like that. That's what we have to do. That's the way to do it, to bring in. Because one thing I always bring through quotes, and certain quotes in my lifetime supporting Manchester United in my life all these years, is quotes from Sir Alex Ferguson. And when you're raised with a manager like that, watching football for 4 decades almost, you're sort of like a second father figure to you, because you watch it and you listen to him, and you watch him and you listen to what he says, and you understand what he's saying, and you bring it in, and you're a kid at that time, and you're absorbing it like a sponge. Everything that Sir Alex Ferguson said, you're absorbing it like a sponge. You're growing up watching Man United, watching Sir Alex Ferguson, watching his personality, listening to his quotes, and you're absorbing everything like a sponge, and you're absorbing all the information. It's coming in like a sponge. And when he said that youth players will give you 100%, they will never let you down, and that is one thing. Yeah, I agree. When you give a youth player a chance, right? You think about David Beckham, you think about Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, etc. We know. Sir Alex Ferguson basically shaped their life. Otherwise, it is quite possible, most likely, that they would never got anywhere near the heights that they would have reached. In particular, players like Gary Neville, they weren't like Carfu, for example. He was just a right back, good pro, but he was nurtured and developed under Sir Alex Ferguson. And so was Paul Scholes, who was a striker, moved into midfield. Beckham, who went on loan to Preston and etc. Sir Alex Ferguson nurtured them and shaped their life. The life that they have today, the life that Gary Neville has today, the life that David Beckham has today, the life that Paul Scholes has today, thanks to Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, they would never say a word wrong about Sir Alex Ferguson. They would give their life for Sir Alex Ferguson. Why? It's because he shaped their life. He gave them opportunity. He gave them a chance. And that's why you give youth a chance, because they appreciate it and they will give 100%. They give everything for the badge. You gave him the opportunity. It was that manager who gave me my opportunity. Kobe Mainoo will look at Ten Hag and say, you gave me that opportunity. You gave me that opportunity. It was you. You gave me the chance. I'm the reason I'm playing in the European Championships. Garnacho the same. You look at Cambuala last season. Not quite ready, in my opinion, but he had his heart, like pumping the chest, shouting to the crowd. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what it's all about. Thanks to Ten Hag. And when you bring through youth, you have that thing where this manager brought me through. You play for the badge. You play for the badge. This manager knows what he's doing. He's my manager. He believed in me, and now you believe in him as well. It resonates throughout the squad, and that's what's important. That's what's so important in regards to believing in youth. Manchester United is about youth. We know that from the Busby Babes until now. We brought a youth player through the system, and we have a bunch of players now who are the closest thing we've had to the class of '92. It's the closest things we have. Now, if we carry on bringing through those players like a conveyor belt, one at a time, we're going to see something special at Old Trafford. We're definitely going to see something special. And we need to believe in this process. We need to believe in what Ten Hag can do. And we need to be patient, number one. I know the fans are not patient. I know we've had 10 years of mediocrity, but 10 years we got it wrong. This time we're getting it right. So we need to give it time because it's going to take time. But I believe next season will be a very impressive season. But obviously, no matter what Ten Hag does, there's a certain section of the fan. No matter what Ten Hag does next season, there's a certain section of the fan base that won't be satisfied, and that's the issue we're going to have to deal with. Obviously, I don't think they're Man United fans, in my opinion. I think they're just fans of themselves and their own opinion. So that being said, it's a very exciting time for Manchester United. More exciting than it has been since probably when Mourinho took charge of United and we brought through a bunch of players in the window. I was very excited. I thought actually we're going to challenge for the league, but it just didn't happen, did it? We came second, but we weren't really challenging for the league, were we? It was just a proper title challenge. I believe in this process more than I've believed in any process in the last 15 years since Sir Alex Ferguson left. I believe in it, and 10 years, should I say? Sorry, my apologies. So since Sir Alex Ferguson left, so I believe this system under Ten Hag, bringing through the youth, bringing in players, new coaches, discipline. It's going to be a hell of a period for Manchester United, and I warn all you haters. I warn all you the fans of rival clubs who have been laughing at us, laughing at me, laughing at the Ten Haginas, laughing at Leicester Ineos. You are the pathetic ones. Because we are going to be successful. Whether it's next season, whether it's the season after, we will be successful, and I firmly believe that. If we are not successful, so be it. It doesn't mean anything. Because you don't know if the new manager would have been successful, do you? So that's it. So we might as well stick by what we know, and a manager who understands the DNA of Manchester United, properly the DNA of Manchester United. Yes, Van Gaal did bring through youth. As I keep saying, Van Gaal did bring through the likes of Paddy McNair, Tyler Blackett, Bothwick Jackson, but they were not ready. They were not good enough to play for Manchester United. He did not scout those players well. They were not ready. Plus, he played the 5 at the back, a 3 at the back, 3 centre-backs, and obviously 5 turning into a 5, which was a very pragmatic, boring style of football. Ten Hag with his proper 11 and the signings through the door. This is why I hope that the signings he brings in are completed by the pre-season. He can start working on a style of play that we have been trying to implement last season, but we had injuries. You cannot get a team from League One and start telling them to play like prime Brazil. It doesn't work. Even if it's a good formation, even if it's a good style, you don't have the players to play that style, do we? You cannot expect Casemiro to turn into prime Maldini. He's a midfield player and he's playing at the back. You can't do that. That's what I mean by understanding the game, understanding the circumstances of the game and of Man United last season, and why we came 8th. Why did this happen? What was the reasons behind all this? Do we, do we study it, or do we just accept it, or do we just disagree and say, look, it's Ten Hag's fault. It's Ten Hag's training. It's the reason Ten Hag the players are getting injured is because of Ten Hag. The reason this Ten Hag that, this Ten Hag that, Ten Hag this, Ten Hag that. Ten Hag demonstrated last season in the FA Cup final. Some may say it's a one-off game. Some may say, no, he demonstrated a tactical genius. A manager that can demonstrate a tactical genius, right, and bring a makeshift team together to absolutely tactical outschool Pep Guardiola is a manager you should believe in. A manager who had 60 odd injuries, lots of noise from outside, of course, Sancho's situation, Rashford's situation, Greenwood's situation, Anthony's situation, Maguire's situation, takeover delay, obviously the injuries as well, and noise from the media on his back. Media have a vendetta against Ten Hag. For him to come through that and demonstrate character and class, even to the point where he won the FA Cup and now still being disrespectful. He's my manager. And I've seen a lot of things of Ten Hag recently as well, where he's starting to speak out against it. He's starting to give it back. And I like that, because that's what Sir Alex Ferguson did. He gave it back. Ten Hag will get it back. Ten Hag will demand respect. And Ten Hag will get respect next season. I guarantee you that. I can guarantee you. And I'm putting myself on the line. I will die on this hill. But if it doesn't happen, I backed the manager. And, we did the best we could. Say la vie. Okay? So, please smash a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate you tuning in this morning. Of course, I've got the live watch along tonight between Italy and Switzerland. Obviously, that should be a very good game. I've also got Germany against Denmark as well later on in the evening. So if you guys could kindly smash a like, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, put it on your notifications, whatever helps. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Apologies for the technical difficulties earlier, but we get there in the end. We're a new show, and we'll try and be here every single morning, and we'll be here in the evening as well. So take it easy, guys. So I'll see you soon.